God, I love this song.
I love it too. It's Sweet Caroline. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our weekly show here, Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce. I'm Mark Trowbridge, and as always, joined by my favorite consigliere, a man about town, now the dad of a proud doctoral graduate, Mr. Grant Miller.
It's an honor. But speak about education. What are you doing tonight?
So I am leaving from here, and for the first time in almost 15 years, I am headed to St. Thomas University, and will be teaching there this summer in their graduate management program.
So I know, did the St. Thomas president speak at one of your events?
He did.
He seems, I never met him. He's electric.
He is. Dave Armstrong is super dynamic, and true story, this is how this came about. I was sitting next to him, and he said, what do you know about St. Thomas? And I said, I'll be honest with you. I taught there from 2000 to 2006. And I left only because I started at the chamber, and I had committed to the board that I would not teach any longer because I was teaching year round. I was teaching 3 different classes there. I was teaching a class at Barry University. And he goes, well, wait a minute. You're not teaching for us now? And I said, no, I stepped away. And, it just really hasn't presented itself. He emailed me that afternoon, and he said, I'm reconnecting you with our folks in management, Dr. Ted Abernathy.
Ted Abernathy?
Ted Abernathy.
That's like a movie star name.
Super movie star. And he says, let's see what we can do. And it took about another year and a half.
That long?
With just finding an open opportunity to teach a class. And I'm super grateful.
So what's the subject, the headline?
The class is SPO 551, and it's negotiations and sports management. But it's really about negotiations with an overlay for the students in the sports management program regarding those that may have an interest in working for franchise sports, those that may have an interest in doing sports agents. So I'll have about 10 students joining me, and looking forward to it. So tonight's the first class, summer 1. Be teaching for the next 6 or 7 weeks. And so this is how much the campus has changed. The School of Business has a new building called the Gus Machado Business School.
Oh, that's a year or 2 old. Yes.
And so I'll be going up there this evening and teaching every Tuesday night. So we can talk about that on our show each Tuesday. So I leave from here and I head north up to St. Thomas. And let me tell you, to your point, if we hadn't had, Dr. Armstrong come and speak at the chamber, and I hadn't sat next to him and hadn't shared with him that story, he saw that through, and I want to thank him. I want to thank Dr. Abernathy and the entire team at St. Thomas. It's been cool coming back and putting together.
Well, you're 15.
Syllabus.
You're 15 years off.
I am
teaching now. You're at a new game.
It's 100% different
because you're going to be teaching things that they don't even heard about. When you were 15 years ago, you were still a baby. You were 20. How old were you? 30 then?
I was probably 30.
You're right. You just began in the business world.
So the cool thing is some of the things that I'm going to talk about even tonight about negotiations will probably have happened before some of these young people were alive. And so one of the case studies I'm going to give them was Peter Uberoth. Remember, he ran the Olympics in 1984 and then went on to be the commissioner of Major League Baseball. Peter Uberoth had a very fateful negotiations meeting with Fidel Castro to try to talk the Cuban government out of boycotting the 84 Olympics. Remember, we had boycotted in 80 in Moscow.
Right.
And so the Soviet Union, the old USSR, returned the favor in 84. And, Uberoth went to Havana, met with Castro face to face. It didn't change Castro's mind. But he said, for him and all of his years of negotiating, that was the negotiation that he prepared the most for, and had the most to lose in the sense of not getting the Cubans to participate, especially in the new spectator sport that year, baseball.
Yeah, and it hurt everybody.
It did.
But in this class you're teaching, 30 years, you're just beginning. Now you're going to be teaching students that are 28 to 30.
Most likely, a lot of them are practitioners. I was talking to several students today on our online portal called Canvas. Again, that didn't exist 15 years ago. We did basically everything through email or you called people. And 2 of my students, one is in Delaware doing a summer internship, so he'll Zoom in, and another one is working for the Cardinals in St. Louis, and they have a game tonight. So he's like, I'm not going to be at the first class. I said, you know what? This is what we're doing, is we're trying to create the next generation of outstanding sports professionals. And so the fact that you're working for the Cardinals and you're working for Major League Baseball and a Major League team, you're doing what we're teaching you to do.
Kurt Flood, Lou Brock, Johnny Bench. No, not Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench was a Red.
No, Tim MacArthur, right?
Yeah, the Cardinals have a great pedigree. And, I grew up a Reds fan because my dad loved the Reds. And then I became a Braves fan just to clash with him. But
and where were they first before the Atlanta?
Before the Atlanta Braves?
Milwaukee.
The Milwaukee Braves.
You didn't know that?
I don't know if I knew that.
You want me to show you some?
You ever been to Milwaukee?
I lived there 22 months, 2 days, 3 hours, and a couple secs. My ex-wife lived there. So.
What's the coolest thing to go see in Milwaukee? It's on the Riverwalk.
Well, Summerfest is the most.
All right, but it's a thing.
I don't know what.
It's the Bronze Fonz.
Oh, that's true.
Because remember, Happy Days was allegedly set in Milwaukee.
Well, it's crazy.
As was Laverne and Shirley.
But the crazy thing about Milwaukee, that the zoning was all screwed up after the war. So in the Whitefish Bay, one of the rich areas, they have bars. So here you are in a $5 million house, and right next door, you pull up to this house,
wow.
the bar's there, and then some of the restaurants, they have a bowling lane run underneath.
I love it. I have to be honest with you. We didn't spend a lot of time there. We were on our cross-country road trip, and so we had flown into Chicago, rented the car, went up to Milwaukee for dinner, and then we're staying overnight in Green Bay. And so we had dinner in Milwaukee. I don't remember where we ate.
You didn't go from Milwaukee to Green Bay the same day.
We did. We got in at like 2:30.
Oh, that's a brutal drive.
And we stayed. It was a lot of construction. And we stayed at a little hotel that was called like Wally World. And we stayed there specifically because it had a lazy river. Wow. My friend Denise loves lazy rivers. And so we were up at the crack of dawn. She had gone out and gone for a run because she's committed. And she goes, dude, we got to check out at like noon. So get up. We're going to the lazy river. And I'm like, I am still asleep. She goes, sleep on the river. Does all the work for you.
Okay. So today is National HIV Vaccination Day, Awareness Day.
Yeah.
Dirty Dishes Day.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to read the other ones? Do you know the other ones?
I know it's National Reese's Day, and so you did me a huge solid here.
Can you throw me some more?
And I'm going to lift this up because the Chiron's kind of in front of it.
The white?
But you've got the white chocolate.
All right.
Which is
dark
chocolate. Newer installations.
Dark chocolate.
This is the one I'm most excited about because I've never seen this before, the snack cake, 2 cakes. Now, one of the things that I think we've talked about here before is my nephew, Taylor, and this is one of our bonds that we share, is that we are both incredibly addicted to Reese's peanut butter cups. And so they can come in literally all versions, all phases. Think about during the holidays.
Okay, so
when you can get like one shaped like an egg. No, not yet. A toast. To you, to Recovery, to St. Thomas University, and to Miami's community newspapers.
And Reese Cup Day.
Yeah. Mm.
Outstanding.
Now, the first thing I do is I try to determine the peanut butter to chocolate ratio. Because if you have too much peanut butter, then it kind of ruins the flavor. Because peanut butter is pretty overwhelming. But I have to say, I think they nailed this.
Kind of?
That cake is almost like it's more than cake. It's like a mousse, like an emulsion.
Okay, so we also have...
Holy cow.
Another Reese Cup.
Beautiful. And look at this one.
Another Reese.
This is the king size, which I think is hilarious because when I go to buy one, I always am like, oh, I have a friend in the car I'm splitting this with. But I'm pretty sure they know. All right, so I'm not a huge white chocolate fan.
I'm not either. But let's see.
But, it's National Reese's Day. I hope Taylor is celebrating at home. He was getting a new fence today.
Who's Taylor?
My nephew. You always act that way because, you think his wife is really cute. So you always act like,
Not think.
I know. You know. But you always act like you don't know him. He feels,
I'm trying not to.
A little burnished.
You take a bite, the whole thing is you swallow it.
I want to look at the ratio. So when you look inside, there you go.
Oh.
It's a pretty good amount of white chocolate. on the edges. All right. Everything in moderation.
Okay. So let's talk about the chamber.
So it's been a busy couple weeks.
I'm calling Dr. P. Who's Dr. P?
Dr. Perlman, who's my nutritionist and gastroenterologist. My staff is the very first to give me up. The first thing I would tell you, Dr. P, is you're right, I can do better. But secondly, and most importantly, is I only ate a third of one and a half of the other. And I'm going to walk to St. Thomas University tonight versus drive. So anyway, we're joined today by Howard. He's producing our segment.
Yes.
So we want to say welcome to him. He's been with you guys, a couple weeks?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you find it? One ads?
No. Okay, let's talk about the chamber. Let's talk about something important. What happened last week? What happened this week? Because you're on vacation last week.
Well, it felt like a self-imposed quarantine. I am one of the 5% of people called breakthroughs who have been vaccinated and still become positive for COVID. And when I was here 2 weeks ago, if you were watching the show, you may have realized that I was a little under the weather. I thought it was my allergies. Thankfully, we put up the glass and I wore my mask, which you don't see today because now I am fully recovered. I've had 4 negative tests in a row, effective as of yesterday. I had 2 additional, a PCR and a rapid test. And I want to give a huge shout out to the folks at Tropical Park who've done an amazing job, and to the folks at Marlins Park who do the rapid tests. I did 6 or 7 rapid tests there over a period of 10 days, and they were on point, organized, had you in and out of there, and super, super proud of the alliance between the Miami Marlins, of course, our health department, the CDC, and others to you still encourage people to go and get tested because, like you said, and what I've read is that, you can still become positive. So I'm super lucky. By the way, folks, the vaccine does 2 things. One, it gives you a sense of confidence that whatever symptoms you have will be mitigated by the vaccine. And secondly, that your recovery will be much more quickly. And for me, it was really about a week to 8 days. I still did 11 days in quarantine, took 10 different tests, and didn't go back to the office until I had 4 negative tests in a row.
Okay. Enough about you. I had 600 calories here, and I had.
Yeah, but you look amazing.
I had, what is this? So I had 1,000 calories with you.
So,
and then the hot dog before.
So let me just say, I am fully recovered. Really grateful to everybody who reached out. The staff did a great job last week. We had a number of activities that, I think were pretty cool. We did an event with Armando Codina talking about his new project in Coral Gables. That was really exciting. It's called Regency Tower. And it's really a cool deal because he swapped land with the city and then sold the swap to Mercedes-Benz and took a piece of their property in the deal.
Now, you had the Cordina, but the week before, you had a big event at the...
We did. We had the Small Business Summit. And here's what's crazy is I had been working on that with our team probably about 4 months, working with Lillian Sir and her team and a working group. And after I left here on Tuesday, I went and got tested. And my results came in, not the next day, but the following day, and said that I was positive. So I had to attend on the virtual side, which we were set up for, our summit. And it was kind of crazy because, we had done all this great planning, and Books and Books was a great breakfast host, and of course the Coral Gables Art Cinema. But man, I got to tell you, kind of strange to be quarantined and participating in that program.
But it turned out unbelievable.
We had a great turnout. Over 100 people registered. And already the sponsor for this year has signed on for a multi-year
Who's that?
deal. That's Sir and Associates, one of our gem members. And we're thrilled about that. And she posted in her newsletter today how honored they were to participate and sponsor and present that. And all I want to say is we are equally as honored and look forward to making it bigger and better. And we know a year from now we will be absolutely in person. We did part of it in the Coral Gables Art Cinema, and the rest was on Zoom. About 40 to 50 in the Art Cinema. We had a capacity there of about 60. And then we had about another 50 or so on the Zoom.
What do you have planned for this week?
So it's a busy week this week. We had a women's lunch today, which was terrific. We partnered with the Women's Chamber, and we partnered with the Cane Biz group that is through School of Business and Alumni Affairs. And then tomorrow we have an impact seminar on cybersecurity. It's crazy. We planned this about a month ago, and who would have guessed what happened with the petroleum company being hacked and then held through ransomware and had to pay about $5 million to get their refinery back, which led to a panic for gas. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I was in quarantine. But one of the mornings when I was coming back from a test at Marlins Park, I said, you know what, I'm on a quarter tank. Let me get gas because it's only like 10:30 in the morning, and I'm sure I couldn't get into a gas station. And ones that didn't have a line was because they were out of gas.
I was in Atlanta last week, as you know.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Daddy-o.
But the Uber's prices.
Oh, I'm sure it was surge.
I had to go a half a mile, but it was at 5 o'clock. I didn't want to walk because it was $32.
I believe it. Sure.
And I go, and the person says, I says, it's a little expensive. He goes, we can't get gas. There's very few Uber drivers.
And Atlanta was much more in the bullseye than South Florida. But, people's ability to panic. And then think about toilet paper on the early end of, or the early beginning days of COVID. There were really no symptoms that would require you to have great need for toilet paper.
All right. So what else do you have during the week? What else you got going on?
So we have the Impact tomorrow. Please join us tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I know Morgan will put it up in the chat. Humberto Comellas from Ultium Consulting is going to speak. He's going to talk about remote workers. He's going to talk about ransomware, how to protect your website. This is a major issue. Can you imagine if your company got hijacked, if you will? What would you do if somebody took your website or your livelihood or your back office? What would you do? Do you have $5 million to pay a ransom? So Humberto will talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, Good Morning Coral Gables, our brunch, is
in person,
going to be our last hybrid or our last virtual event. In July, we'll be back in person. I'm meeting with Matthias next week.
No cafe on the weekend, on Friday? You had
No Cafe con Chamber, no, not for this month. We did one on April 30th, and so we're letting it ride. We already have, I think we're up to 15 new members for the month.
Wow.
Close a couple more trustees. We had 23 members join in April. It's really an incredible
I think, everybody thinks, well, it's over. Well, everybody might be going back to work. These businesses, they were shut down for months. So buy local, shop local.
Listen, there is no letting up when it comes to supporting and shopping and buying and dining local. I just saw our good friend Carrie Black, and she helped really originate that motto for the South Dade Chamber. And you know what? It's relevant to every community. It's relevant to every chamber, but it's even more relevant in this time. I mean, if you can get out there and do whatever it takes to support and shop local. I was picking some things up from the dry cleaner, and she said, this was your biggest order in the last year and a half. And I said, yeah, because I'm basically back at work every day. I'm actually now going out to events, and I may not have a tie on, but I'm wearing a dress shirt, a suit, or a jacket. And, it's probably good to clean
Howard,
your clothes.
Does he look dashing?
Oh, yeah. What do you think, Howard?
You're killing it.
Tommy never compliments me like that.
So I ate at the best dessert place, not just in Coral Gables, everywhere. What's it called?
Bashur.
So I had 3 desserts.
Did you have it for breakfast, I hope?
It was afternoon.
Did you go to the case and pick and go, yes, yes, and yes?
I had an apple that was unbelievable. Speak about local.
Which, by the way, doesn't taste like an apple.
It tastes unbelievable.
Yeah.
But again, I was just thinking about that. But if you have an opportunity, Coral Gables is full of local restaurants, and use them. You want to talk about there's some of your new members. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, and I want to thank Morgan for putting that up for us.
Morgan's the best.
We've got 1 new trustee in. Our goal is to get 3 more. We've got a couple gems pending, hoping to get those by the end of the month. But, it's great to have Jackson Maximus back. They're down on Brickell. They're a great group. And we're starting to see some folks who took a little bit of a hiatus during COVID, which we certainly understand, return to us. And I want to say thank you to all of those that have honored their commitment and said, you know what, I need some time, but we'll be back. Because so many have agreed to come back. And listen, they understand that we've been there all along. A lot of them have participated in our programming, but they've just done it as a non-member. But we haven't for a moment let up or taken our foot off the gas. We have been relentless in our pursuit of recovery, relentless in our pursuit of growing our businesses and getting a return back to normalcy.
And Coral Gables is on fire.
Listen, you told me a story that you were there, on Friday night?
No, Saturday. Driving through.
My last day of quarantine, and you texted me and you said, Mark, Coral Gables is popping. And I said, listen, we've been hearing that really since Illuminate.
And that I think that
February.
helped. I think
that was a nice jump start.
Brought people in from out of Coral Gables.
I agree. And we started a great conversation today with the Illuminate board about, let's frame Illuminate not only as a highly decorated, curated, artistic art installation, but let's frame it as a great business catalyst. Because even as we look at next February, next January, we're still going to be in recovery mode. We're still going to be building back audiences for our hospitality industry. And while that is our typical season here, we have not felt the benefits of that season now since 2020. And we didn't get the full effect. Think about season being October through May. We lost 2 months, 2.5 months during 2020, and we lost all of that for the most part. Yes, there were some people who were willing to travel. We're at the end of that season now, about to enter shoulder season. But, I echo the work of Bill Talbert and Wendy Kalergis and say, you know what? All of us need to be out there doing what we can. You do a beautiful job showcasing so many of our hospitality partners. But bigger than that is that we need people to be comfortable traveling again. And if you're not ready, then there's nothing more awesome than a staycation right here at home. We've got some incredible properties. Get to know your hometown by viewing your hometown from your own backyard.
I had a discussion with Bill Talbert and team and says, we need to get more local people to spend time here. Sure. And when the relatives come in, they know where to go. Exactly. But back to Coral Gables, the restaurants, they're just every day a new one's opening. It's exciting.
We've got a bunch of new restaurants. Matter of fact, we had a new member join yesterday, Forte by Chef Adrian. That is her second concept now coming into Coral Gables, in addition to her work at Redfish Grill, which is another amazing concept. But bigger than that is that Coral Gables is very much a pull brand. So the other brands that are there are pulling in brands that say we want to be aligned with the consumer that comes to Coral Gables. We want to be aligned with restaurants like Forte. We want to be aligned with a Gramercy. We want to be aligned with restaurants who have pivoted with the times, but have found ways to be creative. I mean, you had Steve Bradley on here a couple of weeks ago. Steve will tell you it's been a struggle to keep people and hire people. I'm hearing that from a lot of our restaurateurs and retailers. But you know what? That's a guy who's super creative and never gives up. And I love that he and Nick and others really anchored Giralda Plaza, because that's another area.
They knocked it out of the park.
It's another area that is going to be an epicenter, just like it was pre-COVID. Had finally kind of hit its stride after Streetscape. So you've got Luca Osteria there.
Which one's that?
That is the one by Chef Giorgio Rapicavoli. We're hearing rumors that he'll move Eating House there from its location on Ponce. And again, you just have great independent brands with a mix of some other concepts that you know and love, like Coyo Taco, like Sweet Greens, like...
Sweet Greens is a lunch place, right?
I see people eat there all day long, maybe not breakfast, but, it's got a very strong reputation. I first heard about it in New York, and I've been there a couple times. And what I will say is, very consistent product. And boy, do they move people through that line really quickly. And listen, if you're up for trying something super healthy and just
forget it,
I
just had 1,000 calories of candy.
Putting yourself out there, well, you should probably go there immediately and have a Sweet Greens enema.
Detox.
I'm not sure that's available.
Okay, let's talk about your Instagram.
Yeah, so our Instagram has been doing great. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we crossed the 5,000 follower threshold. So I want to thank Morgan for that and Christine.
Wait, that's the third compliment you gave Morgan today. Morgan, do you understand that? 3 in one day.
Actually 4, because she doesn't know this, but I was just on an Illuminate board meeting call, and somebody shouted out how great the infographic was, and they gave credit to the chamber. And I said, no, that is Morgan. So, it's her
4
lucky
in
week.
one day, Morgan. Wow.
I know. Don't get used to it. Anyway, I think, what's cool about that is that we've continued to partner. So right around Memorial Day, we're going to be working with Justin and the team from El Car Wash. And because of you, we've come up with 2 great prizes. One is a full year of car washes free.
Okay.
And the other one is a month of car washes.
How you figure out the programming yet for that?
Not yet. Christine and Morgan are working on that, but Justin said yes. And of course, we crush on Justin hard. So you're always introducing me to guys who, intrigue me.
Bring the money.
Well, they also bring the intrigue and the identity and a great brand. And listen, I drive home every day past El Car Wash. And what's really cool about all of that is that that's like homegrown Miami made. That's pretty cool.
It is very cool. Okay, we got your birthday.
Yeah, so my birthday really didn't happen this year. It was kind of the second year of that because we were 2 months into COVID last year and didn't quite happen. And this year I was in my quarantine. I had found out a couple of days prior that I had COVID, and so I needed to be home. My little birthday party was canceled. 4 different little lunches, brunches, or dinner events got postponed. So, we're up to it. I'm going to reschedule all of those, but
good.
I want to thank everybody. So I did a little breakfast with Sarah and Mario on Sunday, my first meal out of quarantine.
Where?
Casa Cuba.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I had the croquetas and the huevos con queso suizo. And of course, pan con mucho mantequilla. Delicious.
Well, and your
think of that, Howard. Not too bad. It's a pretty good accent, right? That was from Senora. That was from Senora Hufford. I don't think she probably watches our show, but in 8th grade at McCord Junior High in Sylvania, Ohio, she was my Spanish teacher. That was my elective, was taking Spanish as a language, not knowing that a year later we would move to Florida and then ultimately I would live in Miami. But she was very tough. And when she crossed the threshold into her room, you could not speak English anymore. You had to only communicate in Spanish.
That's smart teacher. Now, are you doing a birthday promotion the last 2 weeks?
We are. We started on May 1st, and I want to thank Morgan and Jen who put that together. And it's Mark's birthday month. So what we're doing is offering some added gifts to your membership, whether you're joining at the corporate, trustee, or business level membership. And I think Morgan can guide you to that. But we're doing that for new members and upgrades. And we'd love to have some folks join us. Like I said, we're already up to like 14 or 15.
What's your goal for the next 2 weeks?
Our goal is 18. So we're going to beat that. But we got to work on kind of the assemblage. We need that gem to fall. We've gotten 2 verbals. We just need to close them with their checks, and then 3 more trustees. We've got a couple of verbals. We just need their commitments to come in because, it's a business. And so for us, the last day of the month is the 31st, but that is Memorial Day. So we know a lot of people won't be working. So probably for us, the last day of the month ends up being like the 27th, because I know a lot of people will be out of the office for a 4-day weekend. They're finally traveling. They're getting out. Hopefully, if they're not going outside of the state of Florida, that they're doing a great staycation. Go stay somewhere really awesome.
All right.
We did a staycation up in Orlando a couple of weeks ago for my pre-birthday, and we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 53.
You had a pre-birthday at 53? A pre-birthday.
Yeah. Wait till you hear about my quinceañera.
Okay. So June 1st, you want to talk about that you're emceeing?
Yeah. So June 1st, and listen, I want to give great credit to Grant and to Michael and Miami Community Newspapers. It's been a tough year of not having our great breakfast at Casa Cuba. So we brought the first one back, and we had Mayor Levine Cava, and now we're doing a lunch with our congressman from South Dade, Carlos Jimenez, and that's going to be on June 1st at lunchtime down in Pinecrest. And I'll be introducing the good congressman. Was always a great fan and friend to our chamber, and it'll be a great honor. So thanks for inviting me to do that. Plus, it's the start of a new month, and so June is going to be busy for us.
How many members are you planning to sell in June? New members?
So it really will depend on how we end up doing. But if we meet our goal, then I think we'll probably be able to stay on that goal. What we're doing is doing some backfilling. We're still about 3% under for the year in terms of sales. Pretty incredible when you consider really the first 6 months.
How many are you short, you said?
About 3%. So if you take that in terms of a financial goal, that's in the neighborhood of probably $10,000. So we want to make that up and more. Remember, everything that we sell between now and August 31st goes into the budget as a renewal. And that's an area where we've been very soft.
Well,
because renewals have been down in the 60s, closer to 70%. That's been tough. That's not the chamber that we normally are.
So we're still waiting for that other trustee. His first initial is W. We're waiting for him to
WB, if you're listening.
We're going to make sure you're listening.
We're going to come over there and we're going to wait in the parking lot for you.
Okay.
With a drone.
You got Father's Day coming around?
Yeah, so Father's Day is coming around. That's always on the third Sunday. So we did a cool promotion in May about boss moms. And we'll probably do something pretty cool about dads in June in terms of our social media. So working on that with Christine and Morgan. And then I think, next is probably, what is the summer going to bring? Summer reading list that we do with Books and Books. That's typically out by mid-June. We're working on a book club. I just found out today that Les Standiford, a great local author, has a new book out. So we're trying to get him to do our book club.
What, a new book?
He's very prolific.
He hadn't wrote in a long time.
Well, he had and he hadn't. He was producing, he did a movie with Mitchell on The Man Who Invented Christmas. So, Les is amazing local author. So hopefully he says yes, fingers crossed for June 4th. American Airlines is launching their direct service that day to Tel Aviv.
I haven't flown in a long time.
Yeah.
But you don't have to pay for a movie anymore.
Well, you do and you don't. So there's a new Angelina Jolie movie out.
No, but I'm in airlines.
Oh, no. It's included. Where are you flying? JetBlue?
No, I flew Delta up and American back.
Oh, okay.
Cheap.
Were they both the same? They both had a TV?
Yeah, just plugged it in. Didn't have to listen to nobody.
Were you flying with anybody?
My son, who sat in we both had aisle seats.
Oh, that's nice. You're talking about flights. The amenities are fantastic. The only thing I really miss from airline flight is peanuts, but I understand that you really can't have those on an airplane anymore.
Why?
I just think too many people have allergies, and you don't want a plane full of EpiPens.
Plus, the peanuts fall on the ground. It's a pain.
So now you get on American, you get these like
waffles.
Little cookies that are kind of a ginger snap. So I always ask for one extra.
Okay.
Two.
All right. So let's wrap it up. Let's talk. Close this out.
All right. So two things I want to mention before we go. One is that in honor of National Reese's Day, thank you for going over the top.
Yes.
Secondly, thanks for my love call from you and Dave from Arbiters. You brought me some tots. And so we're going to do a quick little survey contest. So those of you that are listening, open up your comment section, and we want to get a thumbs up on what we're going to call my new tater tots. Now, these aren't new to Arbiters, but they are new with my brand and my name on it. And this summer, we're going to be doing an official indoctrination. So we've come up with 3 names. Oh, yeah, they're the biscotti. Thank you, Morgan. I couldn't remember. I knew they were like a little ginger snap. You get 2, and then you need a drink. So here are the 3 options. Morgan's going to put it into the curated chat. The first are going to be called Mark Trow, T-R-O-W.
Okay, very clever.
Tots. So Mark Trow Tots. Or the Trow, all in quotes.
Oh, I like that.
Tots. The Trow Tots.
What do you think?
Or third, just Trow Tots.
Trow Tots.
Trow Tots, yeah. So you've got Mark Trow Tots. It gives more of a definite connection to me.
I happen to like Mark Trow Tots.
No, I know. And you've got a Grant Miller. It's got your name on it. I'm partial to probably either Mark Trow Tots or The Trow, because that's my nickname.
The Trow.
A lot of people call me The Trow. When I was in high school, my nickname was The Bridge.
Eiffel Tower?
No. Well, it's a different kind of bridge if it were laying down.
Gotcha.
I need Aaron to explain that to me again. Howard, any idea what that is? Thank you so much. I'm in love with him already. Second thing is why people are putting in their thoughts and comments. So Mark Trow Tots, The Trow Tots, or Trow Tots. And the second thing is, we've got an incredible summer ahead of us. I think we'll start seeing some more in-person events in July. We're meeting, as I mentioned, with the Biltmore next week. So we'll get back to you on our annual conference, which is August 19th and 20th. Our interactive luncheon, which right now is scheduled for June 30th. And then don't forget a very exciting opportunity to have our July breakfast back in person with our City Beautiful Awards. So we're pretty excited to see that. We don't ever want to create a scenario where people are excluded from events. So there will always be some opportunities for either hybridized events or virtual events. But I think our goal is after July 4th, what we hear from the CDC, what we hear from our own county health officials is that we should be at a point in terms of vaccination and immunity that we can have people indoors, possibly even maskless if they are vaccinated. I walked into our office on Monday and I had my mask on because I hadn't been there in a week. And the security guard goes, "Oh, Mark, you don't need to wear a mask anymore." I said, "It's just by choice." And it will be for a while. For
A lot of people.
It will be. And even though I've recovered from COVID and I've had the vaccination, I think it's still a good way to send a message to folks too. You can never be too careful. I thought I was still being incredibly careful. I've been vaccinated since February 26th, and yet I was one of those 5% that broke through. So I'm just very blessed that my reaction was very minimal, that I've tested negative now, and feel very much on the road recovery. Not 100%, but probably 85, 90%.
Well, it's all good.
It is all good.
All right, we are going to wrap it up today. Again, I'm going to give the 6th shout out to Morgan, who does a great job.
She does, and she calls me Typhoid Mark, which I think she thinks is funny. But we're giving her a little bit of a pass. But the staff held down the fort last week, and we've got a shout out to Alkaline Water on their ribbon cutting.
Can you put that up one more time?
And new. And
look at that! Look at that! Look at that!
Oh, look at that! Did she do that herself?
No.
Oh, Howard did it. Howard, are you a single man?
I am.
Oh, Morgan is married, but she would love your hair. It's great.
Let's wrap it up, Mark.
So, folks, so sorry that we couldn't be together last week. I was in quarantine, but thanks for all the kind well wishes. Most importantly, thanks for always caring about our chamber. We are a family. I feel very blessed to lead our organization for the last 15 years. And in short order, we'll be making an announcement about my future with the chamber and celebrating those 15 years. We are going to have a roast sometime in late August, so I hope some of you will come to that. We did one 2 years ago to great success. It was a fundraiser for our 2030 group, but was also a great opportunity for us to put seed capital into Illuminate Coral Gables. So stay tuned for more on that, and our friends Mike Lastly and Adrian Nunez who are helping us put that together. A couple of awards programs on the horizons, our Georgie Merrick Awards, our Business Women of the Year Awards presented by Equitable Advisors, and, of course, our Rising Star Awards. Stay tuned for more information. We're feeling a little bit more like ourselves these days. I can speak to that not only personally, but professionally. But thanks for being with us. Thanks for making us feel like the essential business we are. Continue to get out, support small businesses, shop, dine, spend, and buy local. It's going to be part of our long-term recovery. Thanks, Grant.
Have a great day.